He called yesterday and he said he cannot make it this morning, so Dennis is coming next week. So,
Cause they're got that drone spray in the river for purple loose stripe. I just seen his name on there and thought, oh, yeah.
yeah,
How much we spray can a drone hold? I think it holds like 10 or 15 gallons.
Wow. I was gonna say, I
that's
saw,
a lot more than I.
It's a pretty good size
Impressive.
unit.
they had some down at the farm show that looked like they were about like 4 feet across. They're
Right,
like
and that
little-
they had it. He said that there's what's going on in Mitchell, Dakota Fest or whatever. They usually have a booth there, and then at their weed convention, that's where he run into this guy, so. So they're trying it because it's so hard to get. But we had a helicopter before,
I was gonna
a long time ago, and it's. You still can't get as close as that drone. The guy with the drone's a pretty good pilot. You can get right down there, you know, because there's such small patches. so.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they could knock out a big stand of cottonwood out in North Alabama Bend with the helicopter, just because, I mean, you just can't get.
And quite a few helicopters spraying around here that's spraying more than normal. I didn't realize Nutrient has 4 of them.
Well, they contract with them.
Man, I saw one out working out by the coffee cup one time by the those high voltage lines. And it'd come and like, it would be like almost like its blades would be vertical as it came up next to the lines, and then it would swoop back down again across the field. It's like, oh, it just looks like everything could go wrong so easily.
All right, well, are we ready?
Time to go.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mochler.
Here.
Graylobe.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Teasy.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
All right, any conflicts of interest to declare? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Are there any additions?
So move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
All right, motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any visitors to be heard? Linnea.
Good morning. I just wanted to update you guys on the OHE we had in Pierre last week. We arrived and the appellant did not show up. So we received an order of dismissal. So what you did as the County Board of Equalization stands. So.
All right,
Here,
well,
that's
thank
all.
you. That's good news.
Thanks.
All right. See, Lisa. Hi. We've got the budget request for register of deeds.
Nothing crazy.
I love the sound of that.
I think,
Software, that's all
I
right.
say the only thing is software, which I think we're all feeling that this year.
Mhm.
That's the T-Tech, right?
Mine is
The double
Triman.
or Triman.
Yeah, mine's
But
Triman.
you're doubling up also like.
It's pretty much. But the good thing is, I should be done with Patty soon. So I know you guys are still using Patty, but we should be done with Patty completely soon. So that'll help. But yeah, we're slowly getting everything. I mean, the program is working really well. It's just getting everything kind of implemented still. And there's actually a really awesome feature that I just found out about not too long ago that I'm slowly going to be rolling out to the community. It's like those landlock commercials that they have like late at night where they're like, how will you know if someone steals your property? Well, our software is one of those softwares that actually will send you an email if something is recorded under your name. So all you have to do is sign up on our website that we have that they just built like 2 weeks ago. And so like Betty, if you went up there and you put in, you could do Betty Smith or Elizabeth Smith or whatever, and it would email you the next day if anything was recorded in my office with your name on it. And then that way you would know like, okay, I wasn't expecting something, and you could call me and find out what it was. So that's kind of a cool feature.
That's a very.
And I think that'll really help because I do get a lot of people who come in and say, well, how will I know if something were to be recorded against me? So like I said, I'm slowly going to be rolling that out. I did ask for like a little bit in publishing, I think. Maybe I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I took that out when I had to cut. But I do want to put an ad in the paper eventually about that once the program kind of gets
Yeah.
on its feet.
And when that happens, what we might want to do is also ask the Plain Talk to write an article, because I think it's significant in this county. And it would make a big difference for a lot of people, and probably, send it to the broadcaster too, just, as a press release.
And it's a
because
free
it's-
service. I mean, that's the
yeah.
thing is it's free to everybody
Mhm.
in the county. And I didn't realize this, but this software is one of those softwares that actually has that ability. So there are only 4 counties in the whole state that have this option, and we're one of them. So that was kind of exciting when I
Yeah.
found that out. But like I said, I'm slowly working on like building the website, like rolling it out. I've had a few people who have come to me in the last couple of years. I'm going to reach out to them and get them signed up first,
Mhm.
just because I know that they were really concerned and I know who they are. So I can reach out and say, this is what we're gonna,
Yeah.
this will give you a little peace of mind.
Yep.
So.
It's great.
Yeah.
So you can, like, if you put my name in, would I have to register my LLC separately or do
No,
they all fall?
I
under
think
that?
you can, I've only played with it a little bit, but I'm pretty sure you with your like one account could have multiple names. So you could have Dave, Amy, your LLC, all the names. So that way, if something were ever registered, like let's say under your LLC, then you would get an alert.
Okay.
And then, and like if it's a mortgage stat or something that people know is coming, then they're like, okay, it got recorded. But if it's something that you're like, well, I wasn't expecting anything. What the heck is this? Then you just call us and we look it up and tell you what it is. So that's kind of exciting.
Great.
So yeah. But yeah, other than software, I don't really think I asked for anything too out of the ordinary. So. Still doing my Black Knight money. So. We're at about $5,000 for the year for that, so. I will tell you that sales have gone down in the county. I don't know if you guys follow that. For July, we had 35 sales, which is so low for a
Yeah.
summer month.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I suspect that will continue for a
Yeah.
bit.
yeah, so, but it is kind of nice. Like I talked to Travis one day in the store about how things have kind of slowed down, but it's kind of nice because we're finally catching a little bit of a break. Whereas during COVID times, when the interest rates were so low, we were just, everybody was refinancing and doing, mortgages. So it's been kind of nice to catch our breath, and now this new software is the perfect time because
Mhm.
we actually can spend time working on it rather than just fumbling our way through it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, looks good. It's kind of a bread and butter budget.
Yeah.
There's not much room to move
Not much,
here.
yeah, so there's not much more I can, so.
Yeah. All right. Any comments or?
No, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm really excited about that land notification thing. So once I get that going, I'll let you guys know and we can go forward. So,
All right.
all right.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, and you guys could be some of my first signups.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll be a guinea pig. Yeah. we
I
can-
should, yeah, I'll email you all when I'm
yeah,
ready.
We can all be guinea pigs.
There we go. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. All right, and so we'll move weed supervisor budget to next week. And Rod, you've got a right-of-way application for Clay Union.
Yep, it'd be. Move about straight north of Heine Electric under the county road 313. I believe they're getting rid of the overhead line and board. Under it, I recommend you approve.
And it's interesting, there's no, I mean, they have not indicated anything about encasement there. But we say, in other words, the contract that they're signing does talk about
Yeah,
encasement.
it's gonna be put in a 2-inch.
2-inch PVC.
PVC duct, so I mean,
Okay,
that's what they usually do.
And it's listed in the application.
okay. Good. All right. Is there a motion to approve?
To approve.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And discussion of bridges eligible for the big program.
Yeah, I handed you a map.
Yeah, nice
Brad.
map.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a message here that they can't hear you. Can you bring one of the mics closer to you? Thanks.
That better? Yeah, so this is. What we're eligible under the big grant for, you know. Preservation or replacement. And as you can see. There is nothing I'm willing to spend any money on, Just wanted to bring it to your attention. This is all we have on that big program, so. Just about every bridge is closed already. Except for the one. By the Dalesburg. Baptist Church up on the north end of that 1 mile county road there. I can't think of the Lindstrom,
John
okay,
and Dean.
right by there, so it's in, but that one's on a minimum maintenance road. It drops down and nobody does anything with that section of the road. They come in for the hog confinement from the east end. And the double ones down here where University makes a turn to the north, that 138, 160, that's already closed. And that little wooden bridge, you really can't get to it. And there's no reason why we would
That's.
put any money in that. And some of these have already been removed. Like 134, 100, the only thing that's left there is one beam, one stringer running across. Because phone company or water lines attached to it. And they agreed that. If anything happened that it. Went, flooded and took it down, then they'd bury it. But we took the rest of it out ourselves. Quite a while ago, 10 years, maybe more. And the one clear up at the north end of the county. That's been closed for 10, 12 years, bridge is gone. And so I sent an email back to ask them. Why aren't at least 2 of them shouldn't even be on the list? They should have been deleted. I thought we did the delete resolutions and everything, so I'm waiting to hear back from the state about those.
That'd be for the 2 that are closed and removed,
The ones, yeah, closed and removed, 135, 013, 134, 100. But I mean, there's nothing there. That I'm missing, right? I mean, why would we put money in those guys? I mean, it's 80%, but 20 of ours and. Like that 138, 160 is already on the bridge removal. To be removed like the one to the south of it. And at that time, replacement cost was like 3 some million, and it's gotta be way more than that by now.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I went through the master plan looking and the master plan shows 5 bridges eligible for big. And so that kind of squares with this as well. So I think And I think they know it looks like they know what's been removed, but they don't yet know what's been closed.
Right. Well, and they've been closed, because as soon as the
Mhm.
engineers tell us to close it. I bring that to your attention. We go out, put barricades up, and then we immediately get a hold of Pier. Now, whether they. I mean, they got a lot of bridges they deal with, but. They usually take 6 months to get back to me. What do you want to do? Are we gonna delete it? And if we delete it, it has to come out. You can't just leave it.
Okay,
the
that explains,
structure.
yeah, that
So-
explains why it reads the way it
Yeah,
reads.
and that's why I don't like the 118, 105. Is over by we call it the old Wasland place, be east of Bob Gregoire's old place over the river. And, so we gotta keep the barricades up. But that is supposed to be on the next round of removal. Unless we feel we need to get it out of there sooner. Nobody's been messing with it. Nobody's tried to burn it. You know, I think, looks like few people are walking up there fishing when there was water in the river. I don't have a problem with that as long as they ain't dumping a bunch of stuff down there. So we check on the barricades once in a while. The farmers will let us know if they're down there, hey, somebody pulled them down, so. But, I mean, I just want you to let you know, that was all, which is a good thing. Our bridges are good enough shape. They don't meet the criteria. I mean, they're getting there, some of them, but we're fixing 2 of them. You know, that met the deck. Criteria for being poor, and they're gonna get taken care of hopefully next year. I thought they were gonna get done this year, but. Nothing with state gets done too fast. So. I just wanted to let you know where they were, and I didn't figure. You would think we should do anything different, but
Well, that's helpful to know.
that way you get a visual of where. I'll give you this afterwards to sign it.
So then next up, we've got the approval of the job description for assistant superintendent.
Or at least look at it, I guess.
Yep.
I kind of went through, did the highlights off my job description. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Whoever
one,
typed it up for me, I'm. No help, not much help from HR, and. I kind of copied some of the part that McCook County just did. So. I don't know what you think, Carrie, did it kind of. Cover,
Yeah,
there's an awful lot, kind of repeats in a couple places, but.
the only thing I'd add would be maybe something under qualifications, some kind of supervisory experience. So in other words, you wouldn't take somebody off the line, you'd want a supervisor.
Okay.
Somebody with some supervisory experience. But other than that, it looks good.
And like I said, next week, he's gonna be in Pier taking a highway superintendent's certification course, so. Which, I mean, LTAP puts it on. So they go through everything, and like I said, most of it is bylaw.
Mhm.
It's about. Only because every county is different on. What you have to deal with, but the laws are supposedly cover everybody.
So I guess the question then is what the next step is, because I think the consensus has been that we need to move forward on this.
Yeah, I can add that for the next time we can put it on there again.
that's the only thing that needs to be added, and if you all are good with it, you could approve it.
Yeah, it looks good to me. Yeah.
Prove it, move forward.
Yeah.
How'd you state that supervision? or what?
So a supervisory experience,
Experience.
yeah.
That would be under desired.
Under qualifications or?
Minimum qualifications.
Just need a motion to add that.
Yep.
And
I. Yeah, move to approve this with that addition of the supervisory experience.
second,
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to approve the job description with the addition of supervisory experience under minimum qualifications. Any further discussion?
This person doesn't need to have a CDL, Rod.
That's not in there.
I don't think so.
It should be, and yeah. Would that be under? Minimum or under qualification?
depends on your word, how you word it, if he has to have one when he starts or able to get one.
No, nowadays I just soon they had it.
Yeah,
because it's
oh,
a
I
pain, but-
get that, it's expensive and time consuming.
So it should have. That probably should go under qualifications, but it says knowledge of
Should be a minimum
minimum
qualification.
Yeah,
qualification.
If you want somebody to have it when they,
Must have
Mhm,
class A or B CDL.
yep,
Well, I think the supervisor needs to be able to do every job out there.
Yeah,
So it's gonna have to be what, a class A? And if they've worked up through the ranks of doing this job somewhere else, they should have it anyway.
should
Mhm.
have it, yeah.
mhm.
And there ain't too many superintendents out there that. Don't, there's few that have a class B, but then they don't have a semi either, so.
Mhm. So,
Okay.
so Jeffrey, you want to amend your?
Yes, I would like
your
to amend
motion.
my motion to include also the addition of the requirement that they have a class A CDL.
And do you want to second that?
yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Hi,
Opposed? Motion carries. That's
Thank you.
good to have another step.
So what's the process after this? Open position?
Add the position to our,
Add it to the pay scale. I think we decided we didn't have to open it.
Okay.
We didn't for this?
No.
Or we did.
we don't.
I think Michael said we didn't have to.
Okay. It's when I go to get ready to leave, then we're gonna open it.
yeah,
So do we have to next week then put it on the agenda to add it to our pay scale? Or will this just automatically be done?
I think as long as you create the position,
Okay, so we're done and Rod can move forward
Mhm.
then.
yeah.
Sounds good. All right, so microsurfacing.
Yeah, it is completed. They are striping
Nice.
today. And just, I got thinking about this morning. You're in the near future here, you're gonna see a bill for striping from the state. Which is, last year they ran out of paint and they couldn't get nothing done. So they actually finished retracing this year. But that's actually for our 22 striping, because the striping we have for 23 is included in the price we pay for the microsurfacing. Because of what's been going on, we added it, and for some reason, they have plenty of paint to paint right after they microsurface. But there's never any paint when you want them to come. So it's worked out better. I mean, we have to pay for it anyway. So they just were doing the park road when I came in, and they'll work their way down to Burbank, and I figured weather hold, they should be done tomorrow evening. So then the microsurfacing will, the actual market surfacing itself is done. They got done last Thursday. Moved to Yankton County, so, and I must admit that this is the first time we used Missouri Petroleum, and I hope they get our bid again.
All right.
They were a lot easier to work with, hardly any hassles, and I mean, it's hard to tell the difference between the job, but it went so smooth that I hope they get our bid again. So very happy with it, guys. I believe that's all I have for the highway department. Oh, just, I showed this to, Travis. I don't know if anybody noticed that, this is set along West Main. Out from Cherry Street to the bridge, the state decided to sell them lots off. Both sides of that highway. I saw it. They got a post out there with a packet, so I grabbed one to see what it. And I,
So where are those actually located?
both sides of West Main, right off of 50 to, Railroad Bridge. It's got a map. I didn't want to grab them all, I probably should. You can keep it, nobody else can get them. My only concern is the driveways that access they're gonna ask for. Cause on the east side, that is gonna take a lot of dirt.
A lot of fill to do
By the
that,
time
it's
they
all
get a
wet.
40-foot driveway on top. I mean, that's their expense, but I don't like the way it's gonna come out onto the road. Either they're gonna try to make it like this, or it's gotta be way out there to get a flat to beat it. That's,
But they can hardly build there. It's all in flood zone.
God, it says right on there, it's in the flood zone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I don't know how many of you are on the board, but the state wanted to know if we wanted that, they just give it to us. And I told them, I asked the board, and they said, check into it, and I thought, cause we could use it for, flood,
Wetland mitigation.
wetland. If we have a bridge where we gotta get into some wetlands, we could use that for our wetland bank. And apparently the state figured that out at the same time. But apparently not, now they're getting rid of it, so. No notice to anybody, I think it just showed up yesterday. I'm not for sure, it could have been over the weekend, but,
Yeah, I read it somewhere. I think it was late last week.
oh, well.
Maybe was it in the Plain Talk?
That's the first time. I'm terrible about reading the paper. I look through the court stuff, see if anybody I know. Look to see what the sheriff,
The whole town does that.
because every once in a while, we have something we reported and. Look, see if Andy has it in there, which he usually does. And how many speeding tickets they're giving on 306. So, but yeah, I just thought. If you weren't aware of that, you probably should be, I don't know. Like Travis said, maybe somebody would be smart enough to figure out. That ain't a good place to build. That is the driest it's been since I've worked here. I usually, Dennis can't even get out there to spray because it's so wet down there. Next to, on the west side of the railroad tracks there. You keep it.
Wow.
Just thought I'd bring that to your attention. I guess there was one other thing. I gave you a revamp of that,
Yeah.
of our permit, but then Travis didn't think I guess I misunderstood that we need to and I'm perfectly satisfied with not revamping it. I don't like doing that stuff. About the only thing I really changed was capital letters and a lot more red, and then a more of a fee if they're gonna do it not during business hours, when I gotta have somebody. Cause now Clay Union Electric will call us before they do that bore, so we can go up and watch if we feel the need. That's why I told Clay Rural Water they had to do. Lewis and Clark also, which we not ever deal with them, but until I feel comfortable that they pulling the wool over my eyes, I want to see it myself, so. So I don't know, if we need to do anything, that's fine. If we don't, I mean,
We need to wait till next week since it's on the agenda.
right, I just wanted it so you could look at it.
Comment I made to Rod was why, what good is it gonna be to change it? If they can't read the first one.
Yeah, I thought the first one was pretty self-explanatory myself, but yeah.
But I did forget about the fee of where you were gonna go watch. So,
And I,
Which we've never charged for this permit either, sorry to interrupt. There's never been a charge for this. We added a charge to the driveway application. No, we're still meeting upstairs. Cause it used to only be $25, but I can't hardly run somebody out there to look to see where it's going and to go to make sure they did it okay for $25. We upped that to 75, which is probably, well, it's a lot cheaper than all the other counties.
Mhm.
But yeah, they like to, all that stuff gets done on the weekends. I always wonder. That's just the way it worked out, or if that's the way, so there ain't anybody around. I don't
mhm. Yeah, that makes some sense to me, but if we're gonna do this, then we would, I think that fees, we would need to change. So we'd have to put that on the
Yeah, and
agenda.
maybe seems how we haven't charged for it before, maybe
Mhm.
just the one would be enough.
Mhm.
Just depends on how long you gotta stand out there and watch. I mean, once you see it start going in the ground, they ain't gonna pull back out. I mean, it
Mhm.
wouldn't have to be there the whole time.
Yep, yep.
That's all I have for the highway department.
All right.
Anything else for me?
Well, I think you can go on to ditch board. And you might want to be here for that.
Go into ditch board.
second,
Okay, there's a motion and a second to go into ditch board. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, take it away, Travis.
we're in ditch board, lateral 2A, Rod.
Yeah, so, the pictures probably don't show the amount of damage done right in this spot. It's, owned by the Shellings out of Corsica, South Dakota. But they, whoever rents it, cut silage. And they have two big piles, well, they have quite a few piles on the bottom, but right at this spot, they have two piles. And of course, when it got muddy and they're in that gumbo. They, I don't know why, how they ended up in the road ditch, but the loader, just the tires, and they got stuck. In there, it's all tore up. I mean, it. From this, the last picture shows the driveway. Which was never this wide. I mean, they never added any culvert to it. I believe Redrick farmed it, at that time they put a 60-foot culvert in there so they could get a little slope and they could turn either way with semis. Well, now they've added dirt to both ends of it. Which one of the pictures show how it's. When it got rain, it ran off. I mean, right now it's a 1-to-1. It's straight up and down.
One end looks like it's about encased in dirt.
Yeah, one end is just about blocked, so
Yeah,
I guess the reason I brought it up was. This is along a county road, but it's also a paid lateral ditch. So I guess who's responsible and how do we go about? You know, on a case like this, if it was weeds or somebody put a driveway in, I'd send a letter to Shellings. Cause actually they're the ones that own the property, they're the ones paying to get into the ditch. I'd send them a letter telling them what's wrong. And then it's usually not too long after that, whoever, and I don't know who's farming it. Are
Somebody
they
at
in
Iowa.
state? Okay. And then pretty soon they're contacting me. But I mean, this is enough damage here that I don't know if the sheriff needs to be involved in that, or if we send them a letter and. But do we wait? Do we want them? Hiring somebody to clean it, I guess is what I'm worried about. Cause that's pretty. Ooh. Touchy situation when you get, the only good thing is close to the creek. This is coming into the Clay Creek. Off of 313th Street, just west of the bluff, I should explain where it's at. So it's gravel road, but it's lateral to A, I believe the A is on the south side.
Mhm.
And there's, so I don't know, do we hire somebody so we make sure it stays at the right elevations and then charge them, or how do you wanna go about this?
Yeah, they can't do the work themselves.
Cause I can see them with a loader,
Mhm.
they're just going in and. Cause I think they rent the loader from uptown here. And they're not done hauling out of there, and of course, I stopped them up on top of the hill. Cause they decided to start hauling right after we put load limits up. Up on top of the hill. Well, then I caught them a couple times, they come down the hill. And then they could get to the bluff road where that 8 load limit. And me and the guy had a little chat, and the lady that runs the trucking outfit out of Sioux Center. Something Sock Center, anyway, she said, well, we're only going a quarter mile on the road, and I go, that don't matter. These farmers only need to go 1/8 of a mile to haul their grain out. And so they quit. And I had DOT up there, and the day I called her, the DOT was up there, so they knew I wasn't just fooling with them, but now this is, like I said, I don't understand how they ended up why they were in the ditch. Or the lateral.
Yeah, I would send a letter to Shellings.
Tell them we will be repairing the ditch and sending them a bill.
They
or
will
how
be,
should
they
I
will
say?
be responsible for it because it's a taxed lateral.
Yeah, we might want to get the state's attorney involved, and even sending the letter. I mean, if the state's attorney sends it, because it's gonna wind up in the state's attorney's office eventually.
Not necessarily. If they
No?
don't pay for it, we just lien their property. We don't have to go to court. It'll just be easier to lien the property.
Who's the renter?
It's somebody out of Iowa.
Yeah, Shellings out of Corsica owning
Yeah.
quite a bit of that down there, according to pulled up on Beacon this morning.
Yep.
But I've never. It's so hard to find, that's the only way to find out who's renting it. Is to send the landowner, that's Dennis sends the landowner the weed thing, and all of a sudden you find out who's farming it. But I can do that, send them a letter, tell them we're gonna have, we need to repair it, and we'll send them the bill. I don't know if it's a good idea to, well, it's pretty dry, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'd like to get it done now, but they're still down there.
So
I guess they've messed it up again, they'll pay for it again.
It's just not too long of a area. Shouldn't cost that much to fix it.
You know, it seems it's about, I'd say 200, 300 feet probably at the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah,
But it's where it's at, that's,
yeah.
I mean. It, right at there's a driveway to the west of that big one. And it's pretty flat up until there, and then all of a sudden it starts dropping to the creek pretty good there. Okay. I do have one more ditch thing if we're done with that one.
Okay.
good.
Okay, we're replacing the culvert on the Yankton clay ditch. Probably next week, so we have the pipe on the ground. It was delivered a couple weeks ago. Dana Knutson, 3D digging, put in clay road water, and he's got the excavator sitting a couple miles away, so I'm not gonna put it out for bids. I'm just gonna have it, put it in, he's done work for us before, and we just wrote up a little spec. Make sure the compaction and stuff is good, other words, it's pretty self-explanatory, take it out, put it in, because there is no. It's a creek, it ain't a ditch where we can run, slopes out to it, so. He's planning on coming he's thinking next week, so we have a bill for the pipe. Still at the shop, and. Then there'll be a bill to put it in, and so you said that Yankton Clay Ditch would pay half, is that
What did we
correct?
do the last time when we crossed Jetley Park?
You know, Art was here when we did that, old Jetley Park. Oh, I think the county paid for it all, didn't they?
I think so.
So that's what we're gonna do,
Unfortunately,
okay.
we have to stay consistent.
Yeah, I think we did pay. We paid for it all. Is what did we do there? Put 2 new pipes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brad was the engineer on that one.
Yeah, for some reason, there was a little pipe underneath. The big one, there's something weird there.
I think
we
Dana
found-
did that work too, didn't he?
No, it was. The guy out of Elk Point that, or Beersford, Persinger, Persinger, something like that. Did that one. Okay, that's what I needed to know.
How much is Dana's bill
Um,
or bid?
well, he didn't really give a bid. We're just going by hour.
Okay.
Cause we're gonna haul the stuff out, haul the stuff to him. So, I mean, it would be, well, usually Pullman used to figure twice as much what the pipe costs. Pipe costs just about $9,000.
Just so we're under that bid
Yeah.
number.
Oh, yeah, we'll be way under and saving a lot on Moab because he's just right there. I think he's right north of the shop, so he said there wouldn't be any mobilization much at all. It's still sitting there, he's waiting to get back down here, so. Okay, that's not what I like to hear, but that's what it is. I've been trying, but this ain't worked out yet, has it? I wasn't trying to sneak nothing in there, but you said something last week, I thought
Right.
I'm gonna bring this back up, but I kind of forgot about us. On lateral 50. That's all I have for the ditch board, and there ain't nothing getting done. On your clean outs on the FEMA part. On the south end where the. Or I guess the east end of Clay Creek where the trees. There's a bunch of piled trees down there, but. So that's pretty much at a standstill.
That Jetley Park one worked out pretty good too, didn't it? To
Yeah.
drain that area, cause that,
Yeah, you mean the
There's drain-
corner there?
yeah,
Yeah, we added that pipe,
yeah.
dropped the ditch a little, and yeah, of course. Haven't seen any rain. We had some rain, but the water was going that way,
Right.
but we knew at the beginning it was gonna be. Not a rapid, it was gonna be slow moving, but it did get out of there.
Mhm. Well, that's the main thing.
And I haven't heard from the gentleman. Is that Lau Kaiser, a Kaiser live? right there?
Yes, yeah,
He's the one that brought it up the first time. around.
right. Cause that ended up with bonding issues all the way up to town.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah,
And actually from north side, his driveway, everything runs to town.
yeah,
And according to that engineering map we got.
right.
And
But it's-
there's supposed to be a little ditch south of Meckling there,
Mhm.
right by Denny's parking lot. It goes under the county road. There's like a 2x4 little box culvert under there. But if you look after you get by Denny's trees, it's all pretty much farmed after that, so. And as far as I can find, there is no name for that creek. So I'm pretty sure it's,
Just a ditch.
yeah,
It seems to be working good
waterway.
now anyway.
yeah, so far so good, so. All right,
Move to come out of ditch board?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign in regular session.
All right. And
Rod, have you heard anything more from Nick about WIMPs?
about what?
WIMPs?
Nobody's contacted me since you guys met.
Okay.
So
Curious.
nothing done, cause I just down there looking at the microservice thing. So nothing's been done there and, you know, he asked about fixing the holes at Toby's, but they're on the other side of our. Where actually we went out and chip sealed that back in the day. And I mean, it's way out of what I feel the right of way is, so. And that's what I told him, and so no, I haven't heard anything back from him.
Did we get that culvert cleaned out then?
Yes, Larry. And then went down, they dug, there was a garbage can up against one end.
Yeah,
What did they find in the other one?
probably intentional.
I can't remember what was in the other one, but they cut the end off that was drove over with a
Right.
truck. So they torched that off to open it back up, so we didn't have to replace it. Then they cleaned from there to the next pipe, which had garbage in it, and they cleaned just the ends out and. There, we thought we'd have to get the jetter truck and blow it out, but there is nothing in it. You can see clear through it, so
Sealed up too good with that trash can.
hopefully that will. If we get some rain, hopefully it goes that way, but. But yeah, the. Jetter truck is still in Union County. And they said it was about time you guys stored it. And I go, no, we don't need it just yet this fall, maybe. So it started out being stored down here, then I went, cause, well, for you that don't know, we own a jetter truck, so we can blow out culverts. They get plugged. We own it with Lincoln, Union and Clay all bought it together. And then we divide up the insurance and then whoever used it last ends up storing it. We don't use it a whole lot, but when you need it, it's pretty darn handy for what little bit we paid for it. And we're thinking about taking the unit off the truck because it's on a old 72 Chevy truck and it only goes like 43 miles an hour down the road. We're thinking about making it, putting on a trailer. And then you guy could just pull it because it don't hold that much water. You got to bring a water truck with anyway, so. But no,
All right,
that's all I have.
thank you.
Get out of your hair.
All right, so next up is a public hearing on on an application for sale of malt beverages. Anybody want to speak?
No, move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It's like it's just in time.
Yeah, just in time is right.
Yeah, they got it in at the last minute.
Yeah, well, they're doing publicity like crazy for that, so. We should, all right, any comments on department reports? Clay County Park.
So just so everybody's aware, however, I think that we're gonna be limited in who can attend unless we post something publicly, but the Clay County Park is doing a ribbon cutting ceremony. They joined the Chamber Development Company recently, so that's something that they get. So it's gonna be tomorrow at the park from 5:30 to 7, I believe. It's gonna be some catered food, representatives from Game Fish and Parks, National Park Service. I can't remember who the other speakers gonna get up and say a few words about, pretty much about the positive changes down there in the last few years, and especially getting on the state system for camping regulations, camping reservations. So that's exciting. We might revisit the discussion we'd had about the farm ground and the current lease. I don't know if that's something that is something that's more appropriate to be an executive session, or if it's something we should just talk about now. I don't know if it's a contractual matter we should talk about in executive session, or if it's something that we should I can't recall how we did it last time when we were talking about that. So I think you guys all probably saw, I sent the lease around,
Mhm.
you know, that's a public document, so that's, you know, you can all saw that. Did that clarify, do we consider that clarified at that point, that that have been reviewed by the previous state's attorney? It's in force now. it allows the process to go forward under the direction of the Clay County Park Association and everything's good. If so, then I
I
think
think
that
so.
we'll call that settled for now, and then I'll report back as soon as anything's moved. I think we'd had a few discussions about the certified letter. I think that based on that most recent communication, and the current understanding, then I think that that's something that needs to come from Clay County Park Association, so we're gonna move that back off the county's table, and we'll handle that, and I'll let you guys know progress when it occurs, so.
Yeah.
All right.
And Michael Smith is comfortable with this?
I believe so. I didn't hear
Okay.
any, he didn't reply with anything, so
Okay.
I made sure that he was
Okay.
CC'd on that
Good.
and didn't hear any
Excellent.
responses to the contrary. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
It's worked pretty well, and I am planning on going. You know, I feel like I have a stake in, you know, in this park, and there'll be a bunch of us kayaking in that afternoon, so it'll be fun.
Should be a nice little party. So, yeah.
Is anybody else thinking about going? I mean, because it doesn't
No,
hurt to just post it too.
Yeah, I can post it. I mean, that's,
Why don't you post it?
that's
Go
like
ahead,
no
post it,
effort,
just
so,
in case.
okay.
Yeah, it should be actually, I should say, I believe it's gonna be catered by Mr. Smith's. So if that changes anybody's thoughts about whether or not they're gonna go, make sure that's out there.
Oh, I just love it that they kept the name.
Yeah.
All right, any building project updates?
They're, the architects, they're still, and the engineers are still just going through trying to make everything fit in there. So I mean, it's
Okay.
still a slow process.
Trying to make it fit budget wise.
Kind of, it's difficult. I don't like these conversations that we're having because they want to cut stuff without knowing what it costs. So I'm like, do we have to cut it? So it's tough to make decisions on what to put in. So that's what we're going through right now. You know, usually you would know what something's going to cost, so you could add it in or take it out, and it's a guessing game.
Yeah, well, I would think they should be able to do that. I mean, you know, that it's kind of why, you know, we have commissioners on the committee, right? Because you know, I think sometimes architects and engineers just think about the process, and they don't always think about the impact of the process on the people who are going to be using the building. And yeah, I'm thank you for being in there and pushing, because
Well, Andy and Crystal are pretty, you know,
Yep.
they're getting the functionality of it.
Mhm,
They're pushing back on that, and I keep
Good.
pushing back on, I don't care if you put this in your portfolio. I don't need it to look that nice.
Mhm.
I don't need it to be a showpiece. I need it to be
Mhm.
functional and within budget.
mhm. Yep.
Still needs to look nice, but I mean, it's not gonna be institutionalized.
Mhm.
So,
So Andy and Crystal still pretty happy with what they're getting.
so far,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
always have a post-meeting meeting after to see where we need to push back out of the next
Yeah.
time.
Where we at with like garage, is that still?
That's gonna be put on.
Yeah, I got an interesting, I had an interesting contact from a constituent this week who, you know, you know, to boil it all down, kind of said, what's going on? I mean, you know, we haven't heard, how long are we gonna have to send inmates out and pay these bills, and my taxes are going up, you know, and I really heard what he was saying. So I was wondering if maybe some point we might, a few of us get together and just do kind of an update press release, just to let people know, like, we're working on this. We're working really, really hard, and it's moving along at its own pace and so on. So if you're open to that, maybe we could get together with Andy and Crystal, and, you know, I'd be glad to write it, you know, based on what you guys.
We can try, we just don't know, you know, the final price, what it's actually gonna look like. I'm hoping end date is, you know, fall of 25.
Yep.
So I mean,
Yep.
taxes are gonna be 2 more years of shipping prisoners out.
So what are people's thoughts? I'm totally dreaming of doing this, but we also add in that information of the improvements and the monies we've spent on this place.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's part of the same.
Yep.
yeah, the same release, because I think here we're really seeing movement. And you know, a building takes a whole lot longer and a lot more.
Do you
blood,
have an
sweat, and
expectation
tears.
of when this process of getting towards that final price is gonna be resolved? I mean, do you have a?
They still have the first part of October is groundbreaking, and I don't mean ceremony. I mean, machines moving dirt, so that's coming up quick.
Cause that seems like maybe a good, kind of a good threshold to have crossed and then to prompt sending out a release. So maybe it can be triggered by that. When we
Yep.
get okay, we got the final price, we got a final design, you know, this
Yep.
is what now we'll announce the progress up to this point. or something,
Yep.
it seems.
And nothing's a final price until it's all done. either.
No, that,
Right.
yeah, that's.
Well,
Trying
they're
to
always
price
the
tag,
dreaded, right?
This is the price we're starting with. This
Yeah.
is what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
hoping to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the dreaded change orders, and you know that, I mean, normally it's like contingencies are what, about 10 to 15%, depending on the size of the job, so we can expect more of that.
Yeah.
Joint jurisdiction, any thing to report?
We had a meeting the other night and mainly just going through again. Working through, we didn't really decide a thing, not one thing. But we're, again, guys that from the city side brought up configuration of the joint jurisdiction zoning versus another overlay they have on from their comprehensive plan that envisions even outside of joint jurisdiction, a future expansion area. And we discussed that seemed to be a lot of agreement within our group, at least, that that's kind of a meaningless concept to have that as far as their future expansion planning area, essentially is what it is. But so that stuff's all pretty much on hold, and I think that's gonna go away perhaps, but there'll be some. It'll remain in the city's joint jurisdiction or city's comprehensive plan, but it doesn't really belong in ours.
Mhm.
So I think we're gonna get rid of that part. That hasn't been decided yet.
So is there any need for an executive session? Yes, okay.
So,
Is there a motion to go into executive session
So moved.
What's the
for
purpose?
legal,
for legal?
Okay,
Thank you.
second,
There's a motion and a second. Any, let's see, all those in favor?
Carrie, that's something we record in each of our minutes, right? The justification for going into
Mhm.
executive.
Yep.
That's great. I thought that was the case and I had a constituent talking about do that in Yankton, so.
I do have the fob. Yep.
out of executive session.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second to come out of executive session. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before us?
move to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
I.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.